How's it going, boys? Welcome to part 2 of my 352 FIFA Pro Clubs series. In this video we're going to take a look at how to press effectively with a 352 against a mirror match 352 or against a 4-3-3. Right, boys, so let's get stuck into it. As you can see, you have the mirror match here. You have the blue team playing 3-5-2. The other guy's going to be pressing, and yellow team obviously with the ball. Goalkeeper has possession. Let's see how we're going to stop them playing forward. First of all, left striker on the right centre back. Make sure you're pressing from a wide angle, closing off this passing lane to the right mid. He's going to be pressed anyway, but just to kind of double up on that, make sure you're pressing from a wide angle. Same for the right striker on the left centre back, wide angle, cut off this passing lane. The angle that you're going to press them at will depend on where the left mid is, but just make sure you're getting your body in between the two of those and press. Middle centre back, leave him alone, don't touch him. It's up to him to find the ball out. If he wants to dribble forward, then you can close in on him and win possession back, but generally let him have the ball. If you press him, it means you're opening up the RCB and you're just causing trouble for yourself. Just be patient would be the main advice. Cam, push up on one of the CDMs. It's best to define before the match starts, or even just for your team to have a system in general where, alright, Cam, you always push the LDM, or maybe Cam, you always push the RDM, whichever it is, doesn't matter. Just make sure you assign one to the Cam, and then the opposite CDM is going to push up on the other guy. These are the main fellas they're looking for when they're playing out. So if you're pressing, especially if you're trying to decide which defensive midfielder you want pressing, pick the most agile one, the one with the most speed that you're not going to lose your man. Nice and tight again. RDM up on the Cam. Wherever he goes, you follow him. If he pushes wide, if he drops deep into these areas, make sure you're going with him. Wide mids, up on the wide mids. Now you don't want to be touch tight on the wide mids because they'll spin, they'll go in behind you, but just be close enough that if they do get the ball to feet, you're going to get there in time and they're not going to spin. If they can get it to feet, let them play it back. Don't get beaten. Whatever happens, don't let them in behind you. And then LCB on the right striker, RCB on the left striker, and then centre back is free roaming and covering space if these centre backs need to step up. So what can happen is these strikers might drop off. RCB, LCB, don't be afraid to go with them. Now the deeper they go, the more space you can kind of give them, but if you ignore them completely and they get the ball to feed, all of a sudden RDM's pulling across, Cam is free. It's not good news, so just step up with them if they go. A couple of things we want to avoid. Obviously I said at the start, you don't want to be pressing that middle centre back and leaving the wide centre backs out to get the ball in acres of space and to be playing it out. Also, as you kind of continue through the game, if the press is pretty decent from your side, these wide mids are going to come deeper and deeper and deeper. The deeper they go, the more space you can give them, but obviously not too much space. You don't want to be touch tight when they're all the way up here. Right, guys, you're not always going to play against a 3-5-2. It is the most common, but it doesn't happen all the time, and I can catch a lot of teams out when they're so used to playing 3-5-2 and maybe the CDM knows, right, I always push up and I mark this guy, and the wide player knows I always push up and I mark this guy, and then 40 minutes into a game you realize, oh, they're actually playing a back four. That's how they're playing through us so easy. So how we set up, again, strikers are pretty much the same idea as against the 3-5-2. You're going to take up an initial position between the right back and the RCB. Now you're not going to go touch tight onto the RCB. You're going to like stand not in the middle but maybe close to the RCB, but give yourself a little bit of space. So if the keeper plays a high ball, you're getting out to that right back nice and early before he can play forward from there. Same the other side, you're going to press again from wide to the inside, blocking off this passing lane. Man for man in the middle, the CDM might drop in between the two if they're a good team. He should do it, but it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes he just kind of floats around here and they panic. And then the back line, you're going to push up. Typically, if your press is going well, there's kind of two ways to press a 4-3-3. If you're kind of the better team and your press is working and they're not getting through, it's going to bring you a lot of joy. You're going to win a lot of ball high up. But against better teams that can actually play through, you're leaving yourself in trouble because you're going man for man at the back and it's a bit risky. The wide players, typically you can be aggressive on the fullbacks, but not too aggressive. Similar to the 3-5-2 when the wide mid drops deep. The kind of deeper they go, the more space they give them. The key point being is that if this right back gets the ball, what he's looking for is this ball down the line. That's the most dangerous thing that can happen. And that's what you want to prevent. That's what a 4-3-3 does all day long. They'll get to their fullbacks, they'll play it down the line. These guys will pull the centre backs out wide and then they're causing trouble. So that's mainly what we're trying to avoid. So when you're pressing up here, make sure you're blocking off the passing lane to the right striker, but also keep an eye on his runs. So make sure you're kind of in the way. You don't have to overcommit to defending this guy in their early build-up, but as their play develops, you'll kind of transition from marking the fullback to kind of getting closer to the right striker. But early on, not too tight, close enough to get there and just block the pass lane to the striker. Same for this guy, not too tight, and then man for man at the back. Now this is risky, as I said. If they can play through, if they're a good side, they're going to make shit of you because they're man for man at the back. These guys will pull wide, they'll stretch your centre backs, and it's all hell. For the alternative setup, for playing against a much better side. Strikers, you're going to commit fully to marking these fullbacks. Do not let them get the ball. Nice and tight. You can go super tight. They're not going. If they do run in behind you, you do have cover behind you. You're going to let their centre backs have the ball. Midfield is pretty much the same. Go man for man in the centre. 4-3-3s. Keep in mind they want to play it down. They want to play it out wide, and then they want to play that ball down the line. This more cautious approach kind of protects the flanks a lot more because your left mid or right mid goalkeeper has the ball straight away. They're dropping off, going more into kind of a back five. So if the striker decides to run wide, the LCB will hand him over to the left mid, and the left mid can track his run from there. It's much safer, but not against a weaker side. If they're playing 4-3-3, weaker sides can be destroyed if your press is good, because they just can't play out. They don't get that ball down the line. A good side will be able to ticky-taka around here and eventually find space to play a ball down the line, and you've got that extra security with the left mid and the right mid. Even if you just wanted to switch to a back four, this would obviously be more kind of, I won't say advanced, but would require a lot of communication, and the left mid is free then. But typically, if you're playing a good team and things aren't going very well, left mid and right mid, you're going to drop off a bit, just cover this area. You're going to zone and mark this area. You're not going to man mark anyone. If the striker comes wide, you can pick him up and man mark him, and then man for man in the middle. Let the centre backs have it. Strikers, your job is to make sure the full backs don't get it. Typically, I'd be pushing for this kind of press against a back four, but because there's so much reward with the super high press, we'll call it, when your strikers are coming in here and your left mid pushes up, I think it's worth the risk, unless it's a really good side. Alright guys, that's it. I hope you found the videos useful somewhat. I hope it wasn't too boring. It can be a bit tedious just watching a tactics screen and little icons moving around the place. But yeah, thanks very much guys. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.